Welcome, my students and viewers. At the very outset, I will like to express my thanks of, or rather, the sense of gratitude and the sense of sorriness that for last 3 weeks I could not come on this channel as there was some pressing engagements for me at some other places. Of course, that was also an academic involvement. That's why I was out of station for 3 weeks, and I have been back, and I'm back in this channel. So welcome to all my viewers and students. And right from today, there won't be any break. So today I'm starting once again. And today's class, I'm going to explain point of inflection, a very important point in the differential calculus. A student of economics must know this, what it is and how it is being explained. So point of inflection. This point of inflection becomes visible when any curve changes its curvature, and at the very point where any curve changes its own curvature, either from concave to convex or convex to concave, that particular point is known as the point of inflection. So first thing to know about this is the point of inflection. At point of inflection, curve changes its curvature. So from convex to concave or just from concave to convex. This point A, prior to A, this curve was concave, and every concave curve has its second derivative as negative. So this curve has its second derivative negative, and at this point, this sign of curvature is going to be reversed, because beyond point A, this curve is convex, for whom second derivative would be positive. So second derivative is going from negative to positive. So at this point, second derivative happens to be 0. Once again, from A to B, this curve is convex, second derivative positive, and beyond B, it is becoming concave, second derivative negative. So once again, at this point, second derivative is 0. So at the point of inflections, second derivative happens to be 0. Now, it is to be seen that these 2 points of inflection is separated by minima, or had it been any another point, if this is another point, then these 2 points are separated by maxima. So it now becomes a rule that 2 points of inflections are always separated by either a minima or a maxima. So 2 points of inflections are always separated by either a maxima or a minima. At a point of inflection, second derivative is 0, because we shall be required to find the values of x corresponding to which we shall have point of inflection. So these values would be calculated, and just for finding these values, second derivative of the curve has to be equated to 0. Now, which function gives rise to this point of inflections? Then it has to be seen that third or higher degree polynomial gives rise to point of inflections. Any linear curve will not give point of inflection. Any quadratic equation 2 will not give rise to any point of inflection. So for point of inflection, the minimum degree of polynomial must be 3. So third or higher degree polynomial gives rise to point of inflections. Now for any function, before calculating the point of inflection, we can know that how much point of inflection this will give rise to. So the number of inflection points is n minus 2, where n is the degree of polynomial. So if we are working with the 5th degree polynomial, then we shall have 5 minus 2, 3 point of inflections. So number of inflection point is n minus 2, n is the degree of polynomial. Now, these two are the curves, and in both the curves we are having point of inflections. But the configuration of the curve is different. Here, curve starts from being a concave and then it becomes convex. It is the reverse case. The curve starts from being a convex and then becomes concave. So whether a curve starts from concave to convex or convex to concave, that could be known by the sign of the third derivative. So if third derivative is positive, then the curve is from concave to convex. If third derivative is just it happens to be positive, then the curve is concave to convex, and if third derivative is negative, then this is convex to concave. And finally, one point, that in between 3 points of inflections, there would be a maxima and a minima. So 3 points of inflections are always separated by a maxima and a minima, and on this point I am just going to solve a numerical sum. So this is what about the point of inflections. These are the features of the point of inflections. Now I am going to solve a numerical sum on this. Just I am showing this. Well, this is the sum, and this sum is from R.J.T. Allen book, chapter 8. Sum relates to that book. Sum says that y equals 2x by 1x 1 plus x square. Then it says that find 3 points of inflections separated by a maxima and a minima. So in this sum, we have to find out virtually 5 values of x. 1 for maxima, 1 for minima, 2 values, and 3 values for point of inflections. So 5 values have to be determined. So first of all, we go for the maxima minima. For maxima minima, first order condition says dy by dx 0. This function is differentiated. So u by v rule is being applied. So this is 2 into 1 plus x square minus 2x into 2x upon 1 plus x square 0. Now cross multiply, this is being eliminated. We have the numerator, so 2 plus 2x square minus 4x square 0, 2 minus 2x square 0, 1 minus x square 0, x square 1, so x is plus minus 1. Now we have got the 2 values of x, plus 1 and minus 1. On each values of this x, at one value function would be maxima and minima. For that we shall be needing second derivative. First derivative is 2 minus 2x square by 1 plus x square whole square. It is once again differentiated. So d square y by dx square, again u by v rule. So this is minus 4x, this one again through chain rule, this is being differentiated into u. And finally we reach at d square y by dx square is 4x cube minus 12x upon 1 plus x square whole cube. Now we substitute these 2 values of x, plus 1 and minus 1, and let us see what happens. If x is plus 1, then this second derivative becomes 4x cube, so 4 minus 12 by 1 plus 1 cube, so minus 8 by 8, minus 1 negative. So this function is maximum at x equals plus 1. Now if x is minus 1, so x is minus 1, then we see second derivative, it becomes plus 1 positive, so y is minimum at x equals minus 1. So at these 2 values of x, plus 1 and minus 1, we have got a point of maxima and minima. Now for point of inflections, second derivative has to be equated to 0. This was the second derivative. So second derivative equated to 0. Now it has to be solved for x. By cross multiplication, this denominator vanishes. So we have 4x cube minus 12x 0. 4x is taken common. So 4x, x square minus 3 is 0. So through one factor 4x, we get the value of x as 0. And for second factor, x square minus 3 equals 0, x square equals plus 3, so x is plus minus root 3, that is plus minus 1.74. So at these 3 values of x, we have the point of inflections minus 1.740 and 1.74. So it is quite obvious that we have 5 values of x. At plus 1, it is maxima. At minus 1, it is minima. And 0 inflection point 1 minus 1.74. Inflection point 2 and plus 1.74 inflection point 3. So Absolutely, two inflection points are always separated by either a maxima or minima, and in between these three inflection points, we shall have a maxima and a minima. So, this is what about maxima and minima. I have explained all the features, mathematical features of this, and this is very important in economics when we go to explain the behavior of the curves, because when you see the cost curve, it behaves like this from concave to convex. But if we see the total productivity curve, it is from convex to concave. So at various points we get the various features of the curve, and those becomes quite obvious when we see these features of point of inflection. So this is what about the point of inflection. If any problem he is having with the students, please do ask me. And in next class, we shall be getting some new chapter. But this is for all today. Thanks. One thing more to the students, as I have been absent for these 3 weeks in the meantime, and from today I have started this class, and NET exam is very much expected just after a month. So just I don't have much time to cover in the entire syllabus. So I will try to cover those chapters or those portions which are tougher for the students, in my views. But to students, I have to tell that if you have any bigger problem anywhere in the syllabus, which should be explained by me or which you want to be explained in this class, you please do ask me in the comment. I will be explaining. And for next year, I shall be in quite detailed one in this class. But for this exam, which is scheduled to be in May, I have to be were quite selective one. So on those chapters where you do ask me, and for the next year people are getting rather registered. So if you are interested in this class, you do get registered in that class, and where I'll be available for the entire syllabus for the next year exam. This is what I had to tell. Again, meet the next class. This is for today.